Hello? How did you get this number? Don't you know he's listening? The 13. He's here.
You have entered the 13, a place where real stories about music, touring, and the beyond are told. Music does something to us. We all experience it in our own way. It can affect our senses, transport us through time, and release emotions. On this podcast, we will talk with people about the power of music and the beyond. What does the beyond mean? Let's find out together. Turn on your metronomes because this time is about to be tracked.
What is going on, everybody? This is the 13, and I'm your host, Ryan 13. Today on the show, we have Jason McMaster. He's the lead singer of Broken Teeth, Dangerous Toys, a lot of other bands. Like, he seems to always be, filling in for somebody. Hell, he filled in for the guy from Accept the other day. He's the co-host on a podcast called Talk Louder, which is fantastic. We've had similar guests on the show. They've had Billy Sheehan. I've had Billy Sheehan, but Sheehan, however you fucking say it. Dude, all I could say is this particular episode is probably one of my favorites. I mean, Jason and I have known each other for 15 years or something. We're just acquaintances. Razor 13, a band I'm in, used to open up for Broken Teeth, a band he's in, quite often. And, we all got to be all chummy. I'm using the word chummy because he uses the word chummy in our episode. And, it's just really cool. I don't know, feeling that 15-year ago thing. I don't know, talking to old friends, having a great conversation about music. We even talk about UFOs for a second. I mean, it's a really fun, great conversation. Jason's a fucking delightful human being, and we nerd out together. I think we even say nerds unite. So, I'm really excited for you guys to check out this episode. We recorded this back in October. I'm finally slowly catching up. We've got a few more guests coming on shortly. We've got the original lead singer of Razor 13 coming on. We've got Andy Blacksugar from KMFDM and Blondie coming on. We've got Steffi Grace coming on. She makes some beautiful music. And then a whole bunch of unknown guests. Not unknown. They're not unknown. I'm not going to say their names yet because stuff isn't exactly solid. But we got more guests coming. It's going to be a great season. I don't know why I'm keep talking to you. Let's get on with this episode because it's fantastic. Jason McMaster, everybody. And you know what? Before we get into all that, Jason, for the people who may not know you, my audience members, would you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'll try to put it in a nutshell.
Right.
I'm from Corpus Christi. I moved to Austin in 1980. I was about 16 or 17 then. I had a band called Fallen Angel. I played bass. I was not a singer. I started singing in Fallen Angel. Whether I was any good or not is not important. Then I basically crashed my car into a band called Watchtower and became their front person for about 8 years. About the last 8 years of that, with Watchtower, I crashed my car into a band called Dangerous Toys. And I'm still doing that. Still crashing my car into a band called Dangerous Toys. And then since about 98, I have been, is moonlighting even a word anymore? I've dabbled in so many things and gotten calls to, audition and collaborate and be creative with so many, and then start things that, and also replace. I seem to be one of the replacements. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I'm the replacement singer for Watchtower, for Dangerous Toys, for Igniter, kind of for Evil United. There's always someone before me. And then, so I've been doing this my whole life. The podcast thing started during the flamdemic.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say plandemic.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it wasn't long before that I didn't even know what a podcast was until I got invited to be on one.
Okay.
And now I get invited to be on podcasts to talk about my podcast.
Yeah, because we're 100% talking about it. I was thinking about this on the way. I mean, as you know, I just had a long, super awesome drive back to my
I can't
house.
believe you did that.
Yeah, it was
And
pretty long.
you don't even look a day older.
I know it feels
It
like a
didn't
day.
even wear you out. Well,
Oh, I'm.
you don't look like it wore you out. You look
Oh,
good. So.
it did. Well, thanks. That's 2 beers right as I got to the house. Knocked him out. But get rid of the jitters and all. Same thing I do on stage before I get up there and play with anybody. 2 beers. I don't know what it is. 2 beers knocks it out.
Well, a
That's
lot
my
of people
thing.
have their own concoction, you know.
Sure. Yeah, Dime always did. It was like a couple of shots, a
Mhm.
beer, or whatever it was throughout the years. I mean, I think back when Razor 13 was doing its thing, mine was shot of Jaeger and 2 Budweisers. I can't handle that anymore. So just light beer now.
If you don't need it, you don't need it, you
That's
know.
right. That's true.
Yeah.
The so I was thinking about your podcast stuff, and I saw that the old Metal Dave posted a thing about you guys going to Rockin' Pod.
Yeah, I had never heard of that before. I had never
Me
heard of
neither.
like a festival for, like a film festival. This is a podcast festival. I've never heard of
Okay.
such a thing. It sounds like Nerd Unite.
Yes.
I'm cool. I'm cool with
Me too.
anything nerds unite. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, look at all my
Uh
toys. Look at all my dangerous toys over here in the
I
background.
love that. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, you see.
Um I guess I could say the same. Look
Yeah.
at all this bullshit that should be in a dumpster fire behind me
Oh,
too.
dude, I collect all that stuff too, man. It's
Oh
just
my
in another
God,
room.
it's embarrassing. Okay. Uh yeah, my there's a guy named Chris that's friends with an acquaintance of mine, a guy named Tyson Leslie, who plays keys for he Tyson Leslie is a male.
All right.
Not that that's important, but he's a male who plays keys for Vixen is where I was
All
going,
right.
and Vixen
Okay.
is not male,
Right.
right? But he's the male,
Okay.
and he's not in any of the photos, and he's not a bad looking male, but
Right on.
he's not in any of the photos. When you see Vixen, you
Yeah.
just anyway.
He's the other
He's
member.
obviously he's a sweetheart because he pulled the right string and he goes, you should get Talk Louder dudes, and I was on their show and they're buds and blah blah blah. So yeah, I've never heard of such a thing, but yeah, that's going to be in mid-March,
Okay.
and supposedly they book everything for you.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to be handed an itinerary, and there will be artists for me and Dave to interview at our booth,
Wow.
as well as there will be artists that are booked for our interviews for Talk Louder on their live stage. So they'll have
Okay.
stage in a big auditorium that they film and they record and they do it pro, and then they just basically hand you the thumb drive or upload it to your Dropbox so you can air these remote interviews you've done at the Rockin' Pod on your sites and your Medium
Okay. Wow.
and all of your platforms. And I was like, that's kind of brilliant
Yeah, that's fantastic.
because we're getting to meet other podcasters as well as they're booking the artists for us,
Right.
which can
That's
be a
fantastic.
calendar nightmare. And,
Oh, it
and
could be
so
scary as hell.
within one day, we're gonna probably can about 4 or 5 cool shows that we can air on our podcast.
Wow.
And I don't know, pretty cool. Sounded pretty cool.
I like it.
So,
I heard in your in one of the podcasts I was listening to on the way here today. Man, who was it with? I think it was with Thunder. Is it Thunder Mother?
Thunder Mother. They're a Swedish
With the
all-female
Scorpions, right?
rock band. They're out with the Scorpions. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was listening to that today. I feel like I heard you say, well, our producer's going to try to clean up this audio or whatever because the internet was bad a little bit. Not for
Yeah,
you,
she
but for
had
her.
Guernica. Yeah, she had the singer. She was in a hotel, so she was relying on hotel Wi-Fi,
Right.
which is
And
never
that's,
that great, especially when you're
yeah.
Anyway, bad transmission.
Yeah. It's never good.
Um,
But
no.
so do you have a do you have somebody besides you and Dave that
Yeah,
helps
yeah.
out?
So the way that Talk Louder, real quick,
Sure.
came together was, the shit demic hit the fan, and so we're having to be creative from home and lockdown, and he calls us, and me and Dave, he goes, what about you guys, having a podcast? I'm like, okay, sure. And
Yeah.
he was like, well, no, seriously, when you think about when you and Dave are at a party in the before times, when you guys are at a party and you guys start talking about, you know, David Lee Roth or Rush or whatever, and you guys start, spinning off of that, the whole room disappears, and me and Dave just turn into like Beavis and Butthead nerding out on this one
Yes.
thing, and all of a sudden we either have an audience or they're annoyed and they run away.
Yeah.
What if you guys did, because there's all this like useless information we're going da 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 da. It's like two punks trading kiss cards, kiss trading cards or something. And he's like, "What if we did that and canned it, and
Yeah.
put it on TV?" And we were like, "I'm in. That sounds like a blast, man." And then so fast forward, here we are, 100 and something episodes in.
150 something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's Jared Tootin who plays guitar in Broken Teeth.
Okay. Oh, okay.
He was
Wow.
in Pariah. We
Yep.
just had Jeff Scott Soto on
I
the
saw
show.
that. I haven't seen it yet, but I saw it on it's in
Okay,
my
well,
watch
I'll
list.
give you I'm going to give you I'm going to blow it
Synopsis.
for you. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to spoil it for
There
you.
it is.
Just
All right.
one item, just one
Okay.
item. Jeff Scott Soto sang backup on Pariah because Jared was in Pariah. They were on Geffen Records. Their record came out in like '92. They were signed by Tom Zutaut, blah blah blah. They're out at Conway Studios, and Jeff Scott Soto sang backup on the Pariah record.
Wow.
I did not know that.
Me
So here
neither.
I am doing this interview, and I did a little research, and Pariah, Jared, dude, fucking, yeah, he sang on backup on my record, all cool and shit. I'm like, he didn't sing backup on my fucking record.
Yeah,
Anyway, so Guernica, yeah, bad Wi-Fi. The
but it
Thunder
still sounded.
Mother
It came out great. Or
episode. It was
your
fine.
producer did great. It's
Yeah,
fine.
Jared just trimmed it, and then where her like she froze, like
Yeah, I saw. I
you
remember.
know, he just replaced a photo with another still, and he just put band-aids on it, and it came out fine.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
going to
awesome.
be, it'll still work to promote, Thunder Mother and the Scorpions tour,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
do what it's supposed to do. And
Yeah.
our new thing now, not to go podcast crazy, is our new thing now that we're trying is our episodes are fucking long, and some people can't handle that. I don't
Sure.
know why. You can press pause and go into work, and
Yeah, and
then
come
eight
back to
hours
it
later
later.
you
Yeah.
come back and you're driving home and you finish the fucking Anyway, we're gonna do these shorts, like 10-minute
Oh
short
wow.
versions
Okay.
of it. Yeah, and that's hard because all of the cool like spirit that me and Dave have as like, Wayne
Right.
and Garth and Beavis and Butthead and that metal show dudes, and like, oh dude, I love that part, all of that cool shit.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the bummer about it. But for the world to be able to consume, because everyone's doing this, scroll, 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 whatever. We're trying new things. We'll see what happens.
So that's the I'm so obviously this is the 13. You guys had Wednesday 13 on your show, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But the reason it became the 13 podcast was because I was talking to Al Shire, and I was like, dude, I can't think of a name for this thing. I just want to talk about touring. I want to talk about, tour stories, our love for music, And then if somebody's into aliens or whatever, something stupid and crazy, let's talk about that stuff too. Let's
Yeah.
leave it wide open. And he goes, Al Shire calls me 13 because my name in Razor 13 was Ryan 13 or whatever. And so he's always like, what's up, 13? And he said, why don't you just call it the 13? I was like, okay, cool, easy, done.
Well,
Check that box.
it's a popular number.
It is a
It's
very
cool.
popular number.
It has a lot. It's controversial.
It is. I know it's not supposed to be lucky. I think it's lucky, but like Wednesday 13. So Razor 13 started around the same time that Wednesday started doing his own thing, 2004, 2005.
Yeah, like
Hey,
jumping, slight moving out of Murder Dolls.
Murder Dolls, right?
Uh-huh.
And and he started touring like it was going out of style a couple years later.
Mm-hmm.
And I would see his flyers everywhere. And I'm sitting here like calling myself Ryan 13 all over. I'm like, who the hell's this Wednesday guy? like he stole my thing, man. But he didn't. He had it first. I want to get him on at some point. But anyway, so I want to talk about podcast stuff. I didn't think that this was going to turn into me wanting to talk to you about podcast stuff, but after listening to more,
it doesn't have to be. We can talk about anything you want.
Well, cool, and we will. We'll jump into some other stuff, but because I'm a fledgling podcast student, this being the 21st episode, I'm doing seasons, which I think is stupid, but it doesn't matter. All my seasons are only 13 episodes long.
No, I think that's okay.
And so we're you and me are in season 2 right now.
Okay.
And how did you come on to that microphone that you're using right now?
Wow, interesting story. So, what do I need to have a podcast is kind of the thing, right? When you're like, what do we do? Especially Dave. I'm not throwing my co-host Metal Dave under the bus whatsoever during the making of the answer to your question. But in our earlier episodes, you should watch our earliest episodes because every episode Dave has a different microphone.
Okay. I think I heard you say that in one of the
trying out different microphones. So I've just had this good Shure SM58 the whole time.
There it is.
And I have an SM7 similar to what you've got, a Shure SM7. It's literally an arm's length away.
That's the one. Actually, this isn't even that. That's the one I want. The SM7.
No, I know it's not, but what you have is very similar to SM7. But so I have that, but I use that basically my vocal recording rig is right there.
Okay.
And Jared, producer, was like, "How come you're not using the SM7 on them?" I was like, "What? You don't like the way this one sounds?" No, it sounds fine. Honestly, I mean, I can tell a slight difference, but this shit sounds great.
Yeah. It does.
This is what I use live. My face is used to hovering around this thing for the past 45 years. This thing has been in my face. Anyway,
well then, okay.
we how I ended up with this is just habitually the mic that I use. I even used these in the SM58 recording vocal. Here's a side note. Tease and Pleasin', Dangerous Toys hit song.
Oh yeah.
The vocal recorded with an SM58.
There it is.
So you can't. I mean, it's the machine. It's the hammer.
Yeah. Okay.
This microphone built a house. So whatever. The funny thing is we had to get. It turns out I had everything I needed to do this to set this up, set it up. Boom. I needed an Ethernet cable that runs like about 100 feet from where I sit now.
Okay.
So I had to get one of those.
You got this long blue cable.
I made sure it's black.
Oh, okay. Good.
And it goes through the wall and up the outside wall of the house and around the backyard, and it's all you can't see it. But
okay. You got it hidden the whole way. That's cool. See, I wouldn't have been that smart. I would have just ran it all white trash across the yard.
Well, that's I think what Metal Dave was doing when he because we had some internet issues where I'd be talking in the middle, and then I'd start again. Right, so it was all splotchy and shitty. And
sure,
Jared, what do we do? Ethernet cable. Oh, Is that it? Oh, okay. So Dave, I think, has his like at least taped to the wall down the stairwell. So
Well, good.
yeah, so we had to figure out a couple things like that. I already mentioned that he had to go through a few microphones. Um, we had to kind of go through his mixer and make sure as long as you have a cheap little mixer with a USB out on it, you can do a podcast.
Yeah. All I have is the Focusrite Scarlet
Yeah, an
sitting right here.
interface. The
Yeah.
cool thing about the mixer is the more inputs you have, the more special effects
That's right.
that you can do. There's all kinds of
That's cool.
strange things that you can incorporate into whatever it is you're being silly about.
See, I was just talking about this on the phone on the way home to Al Shire, because I talk to that guy every day. But anyway, like I was like, man, I got a MIDI controller sitting in front of the computer.
Nice.
I want to get one of those gone, like, when you listen to the radio host and someone says something, they're like, oh, boing, 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 boing. Like I can do that. I just
That'd be
haven't done
fun.
it yet. Yeah, I
Sure,
think this
that'd
would
be
be a
fun.
lot of fun. I'm gonna start
have a-
incorporating that.
I have a 30-inch gong.
Oh, dude. It just wow.
Yeah, just put it right behind me right here and twirl flaming drumsticks. Ka, ka, ka.
That
No,
would
I
be
won't.
sick.
I won't do that.
I would watch it. I would watch
Anyway,
it.
so yeah, once we got everything plugged in and shined up, we started cooking with gas. Um, Side note is our first like 15 episodes, we didn't even have guests. We would just pick a topic
Hey, that's awesome.
and go 3 hours talking about just digging a hole,
Yeah.
talking about one thing. And
I
and like something like we had an episode called you know, Canadian bands or replacement singers,
right.
or Kiss Alive. We
Yeah.
just talk about Kiss Alive for 3 hours.
No, that's fantastic. Like, but I don't even know how.
I miss that because me and Dave work well together and we just go.
Yeah.
And we keep like saying this to each other. We need to bring back that. Fuck having guests. Yeah, but dude, the guy from blah blah blah. I don't care. We need to do a series of this. We need to bring it back.
I like it. No, I totally like it. I've only seen the ones where you guys have had guests
Right.
so far. I'm going to go back in the catalog as I'm catching up from where I started.
Sure.
But I've only ever had guests. This all started for me because I have another YouTube channel, totally separate. I do stupid things on there, like eat scorpion peppers, or show you how to cook my favorite meal in the air fryer, or go on travel. I do a whole bunch of crap over there. But I wanted to do like 4 or 5 podcast like episodes so I could interview everyone from Razor 13, including Doug from King's X,
Mhm.
and that was it. That's all I wanted to do. And then my
Mhm.
buddy Brandon from Expanding Reality podcast. By the way, go check out Brandon. Got to throw him out there.
A lot of you have probably been hearing a lot of podcasters talking about UFOs, the TV talking about UFOs, the government releasing videos of UFOs. If you like stuff like that, you should head on over to expandingrealitypodcast.com. There, they talk about consciousness, psychedelics, UFOs, and the beyond. And we love the beyond on this show. Check the link in the description for Expanding Reality. There you can become an expansive insider for all of the mind-melting bonus content with the coolest panels, exclusive interviews, and massive collaborations about all the fringe and alternative topics that we absolutely think will expand your reality. Go over there, check it out, link in the description. I love the host, Brandon Thomas. He's a fantastic person and a great host. Go check it out. But he said, why don't you just do a podcast? Thought to myself, well, I don't know how to do that. Kind of the same way you guys were like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
Well, now you do. I think that for the most part, and I actually still feel this way. For the most part, podcasts are for people who can just listen to other nerds talk about something that you, the listener, are interested in.
Right.
This is going to sound weird, but podcasts are fucking boring as fuck to me. To me. Um, unless it's someone who I absolutely worship, and there's a handful of those people in the world.
Sure. Yep.
And everyone has that, right? It's kind of like, oh
Absolutely.
man, you're killing me. I gotta. He's on this podcast. Oh shit, I gotta hear that. But overall, so fucking nerdy to just listen. I'm listening to someone talk.
Oh yeah, we're just having conversations,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
man.
Well, it's the fellowship and the conversation that I actually like. But going back and listening to the shit, that's not for me.
Yeah,
So
understood.
I'm amazed that people are finding this medium interesting and entertaining and helpful to their sanity,
Oh sure, yeah.
and that is beautiful. Whatever you get out of it, I don't know. I don't know other than what I do know, and that's from
Right.
how people respond and how they feel afterwards, and how they look forward to. And then every once in a while, we have somebody that they're ridiculously obsessed with, and they have to hear it.
Sure, absolutely. I'm interested to see what y'all's RSS feed numbers are like because I'm sure they're through the roof. I put my stuff out. I've only got like I don't even have all the episodes out on the podcast platform yet. And I went and looked at the downloads and I was like, that whoops YouTube's ass. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah. So the algebra that you're talking about,
Yeah.
I have no interest in it. I have
Okay.
no idea where it is, what it is. I know what I'm told, and so I'm
Sure.
told that our subscribers are finally reaching a high enough number to where we could soon be considered for monetization.
Oh, great. Badass.
I know what monetization means,
Yeah.
but I don't know how many you have to do that, and what the rules and stats have to be, and what robot bean counter is handling
Right.
all that.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm still learning, but I don't have a producer, and I don't have. This is just me. But
Well,
I
that's
get to pick everybody's brain. That's what's fun.
right. So Dave and Jared can just fill me in, and I'll go, okay. Oh, just let me know where to be and where to stand. Is this okay? I'm more like, just tell me where to be, and I'll be there fucking 30 minutes early.
There you go. Hell
Even though I
yeah.
don't care about all the math, I'll
Yeah.
be there 30 minutes early.
Let's go.
I'll be showered. So,
I'll be cleaned, ready to
mhm,
rock. Let's
that's right.
do this.
That's right.
Hey,
Let's get the work done.
well, I'm glad you guys are doing this because, again, I keep bringing this dude's name up because I talk to him every day. But Al Shire turned me on to y'all's podcast, and I was like, you
Great.
know what?
Well,
I'm gonna ask Jason if he wants to come on mine.
sure, man. Cool. The cool thing about Al Shire is he's like a man about town.
Oh yeah,
He's kind of like, he's not up in your grill. He's more like,
he's everywhere though.
yeah, he is, and it's like kind of the magic. He's like Stardust.
Yeah, dude. We are made of star stuff.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
It's shit's real. I don't know how he does that, but it's like soon as he got to Austin, I was like, all of a sudden I know this guy Al Shire like I've known him my whole life.
Because
And if I didn't know him my whole life, I'm like, what?
it's
How
because
come
he slaps stickers on everything, and you see his mug everywhere. You pull into Starbucks, and there's like some sticker of his face with the
It,
beard and the
is
eyes and
that what it
everything.
really is? Is that
I don't
sticker
know.
power?
It must be like
Okay.
he's the only one I've ever known to harness it the way he was. I was in Houston on Kirkwood and I-10. I pulled up to a Starbucks, bam, Al Shire's face. Because
Wow.
one day he drove through there and slapped his stick. I don't know, man. It's like
Okay.
you don't know him, but you know him.
Right.
Anyway, so I guess we can move on past some podcast stuff, even though I'm super into talking about it. But
Well, we can always come back to it, man.
dude, I would love it. And so tour stories and music, and this being the heart of the 13. I got tour stories from the 15 years I did it before I joined oil and gas and sold my soul and whatever. But like I've got great ones. I looked at some of the bands you guys have toured with and some of the extensive tours you've done, both with, well, at least in my small section of knowing Dangerous Toys and Broken Teeth. And Dangerous Toys tour, like you guys did a tour with Striper, or you opened up for Striper, or played with them.
Yeah, mainly the Striper connection that I have goes back to Watchtower.
Okay.
February 20th, 1985.
All right.
Watchtower and Striper at the Austin Opera House. We opened the show. They came in our dressing room wearing their black and yellow tights.
Yeah.
It was fucking awesome. And this is in 1985.
Right.
They're touring
Probably.
the first record.
Holy cow. Wow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They come in. The brothers come in. The Sweets come in. And we're shaking it off. We're in our little dressing room hole, and they were so kind. They were like, "Wow, I'm not sure what kind of music that was, but our minds are blown. You guys can play your asses off, blah 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 blah." And I'll never forget that, because that was the first time that, well, I mean, we had opened for, especially that year and the year after, 85 and 86, we opened for like Anthrax and King Diamond and Trouble and
Oh wow, Trouble.
Grim Reaper and
Yeah.
Slayer.
The guy from Grim Reaper just died not too long ago.
Yeah, Steve Grimmett. And all of the up and coming like thrash bands, because Metallica had opened the door. So
Right. Yeah.
and all of the Metal Blade bands that were hitting on the road on their first tour, Slayer being one of those,
Right.
Trouble being another. So Striper, and we were like, wow, well, thanks, man, and wow, that's awesome. That's kind of cool. Just a cool pat on the back from those guys.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting sort of like salt and pepper to that story. It's not really a touring story, because this is happening in our hometown.
Okay.
Is Metallica and Wasp and Armored Saint were scheduled to play February 21st of 1985 at the Austin City Coliseum, which is not far. It's just west of where we were.
Okay.
Literally like 3 miles away, something like that. And the next day, the 21st. And I didn't live with my mom at the time, but my mom apparently had gotten a message on her answering machine from someone cursing up a storm and saying, "Hey, Jason, what the fuck are you? How come you're fucking not answering your phone? And fuck this and fucking blah, 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 blah." And I don't know what this message is about until a few days later, when I'm having lunch with my mom at my mom's house, because I don't live with my mom. I was like 19 in 85, or what?
Yeah.
In February of 85, I was 19. And, I had my own place, right?
Right.
And so I'm having lunch with my mom a few days after that weekend, which was a killer week because I opened for Striper and got to see Metallica and Armored Saint. The deal is, Wasp had canceled, and the promoters as well as Metallica were looking for another band to open. Well, I had met Metallica guys, and I had only met Armored Saint that day of that show that I speak of. I had met Metallica in a year and a half earlier, or whatever, on their first tour when they were opening for Raven.
Oh wow.
And that would have been Wednesday, August 24th, 1983.
Wow.
And I met those guys, and me and James had been pen pals, and I would call the house in Bay Area and talk to James all the time on the phone. And we were just chummy,
Yeah.
And I'm having lunch with Mom a couple days after that. How you doing, Mom? She's like, I'm okay. I wish your friends would stop calling here, and they curse and say all kinds of stuff and just da 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 da. And I'm like, my friends don't call here. They know that I don't live here. Back to February 21st, day after Watchtower opened for Striper, I knock on the back door of the Austin City Coliseum, because it's early. They're probably done with sound check or whatever, but it's right around that time, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. I'm knocking on the door, the security guy, the door comes flying open, and it's James and John Bush. They got a Nerf football. They're playing football in the backstage area.
Yeah.
They pull me in and they tell security, yeah, this guy's cool. Come on in. And James introduces me to John Bush, and in like the same breath he goes, "Did you get my message?"
Oh no.
And hold on, I'm looking at him like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" He goes, "Yeah, I called your house." I go, "Well, first, I don't have an answering machine, and I would have known if you would have called me because I was at home all night. You know, after that Striper gig, I was home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't call me. Didn't think anything about it. Fast forward, I'm at mom's. Mom says, "I wish your friends wouldn't call here and say fuck. You put it together."
Oh my God. So James figured out your mom's number.
Well, it says Jay. Her name was Janine.
There it is.
Jay McMaster. He just
There it
looked
is.
in
He
the
looked
white
through the
pages and
yeah.
said, "Hey, fucking, get your fucking, Wasp had canceled. He was trying to get Watchtower to come play.
Oh
We
my
were opening for
God.
Striper the night before. He called my mom's. I would have never gotten anyway. Hey, mom, here's the funny part. Hey, mom, you still got that message? I deleted that. I'm not going to blah, blah, blah.
Oh. Still.
Kind of funny, right?
That's a
Kind
wonderful
of,
story.
it's a good one, and you can't make it up.
No, that's great. James, all of the Metallica guys are, I grew up just like all my friends grew up listening to them. Those are the dudes that made me want to play music in the first place. That'd be fantastic to hear. Like, it's super cool to hear these stories because none of these stories like that break out into the media as much.
No, it's not a mainstream. I call that like a scene, like an underground scene. You have to know the
Yeah.
players in the local scene
Right.
to hear stories like this. And I'm sure they happen all the time.
Sure.
A lot of people don't realize that, like Jim Florentine, who's now a big famous stand-up comedian, he's been in
Right.
movies in that metal show and da 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 da. And he's awesome. He's a real dude. All those guys are. Anyway, people don't know that he used to write fan letters to the guys in Raven.
Oh,
He
wow.
would drive them around, and when they were in New Jersey, when they were on Megaforce Records,
Yeah.
he's been friends with. Yeah, he hung out with the guys in Metallica and Raven when they were recording Kill 'Em All, and he was like a little punk. It's fucking crazy. So there's guys like that everywhere that have all
Right.
these like stories that are not in a book. They're not sort
Right.
of whatever immortalized.
Yeah, that's cool. And I like them. I like
Yes.
hearing them. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that one with me.
Yeah.
That one's fantastic. The so what about
But I still, to clear up the Striper, you mentioned Striper.
oh yeah,
Striper was
that's
our
right.
number one band today. Uh, I do those Monsters of Rock cruises and festivals and shit, and they're always on the bill. You're right. 2 weeks ago, I just did a gig in the Valley with them.
I saw that. I go down to the valley for work all the time. I was like, what's he doing way down there?
Yeah,
And I saw a whole bunch of people posting about that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. It
that
was some locals, and then it was Toys, and then Stephen Piercy and Striper headline.
oh wow.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good show. Those three bands work quite well together, in my opinion.
Right on. What was the name of that town? Did it start with an M?
Mercedes, which is like
Mercedes.
20 minutes from McAllen.
Yeah, yeah. I'm always in Los Fresnos
Mm-hmm.
or South Padre. I'll stay on the island and drive to work.
Wow. Okay.
The island's nice. I was actually crazy story, has nothing to do with music, but I was on the island at the Courtyard Marriott. Told myself I wasn't going to the bar this week. I'm not going to the bar. I'm not doing it. I got to work every day. Anyway, comes to be the last day of work. It's a Thursday. I'm like, all right, they have good food down there. I'll go get a drink and have some dinner. I go down there. I sit down. I hear a woman to my left on the corner of the bar. I'm like, man, that voice sounds kind of familiar. And oh well, whatever. I play it off. I'm looking at my phone, and then she says, bartender to the bartender, "Hey, could you watch my purse? I'm going to go smoke a cigarette." And I looked up and I looked at her as she was walking away, and I looked at the bartender. I was like, "That's fucking Sarah Connor," because it was the actress who played Sarah Connor in the Terminator, Linda
Oh,
Hamilton.
yeah,
And,
Linda Hamilton.
and
Yeah.
I was like, And then the bartender was like, yeah, she's been here all week, like down here at the bar every night. I'm like, God damn it, because I missed the whole week.
Smoking and drinking.
Smoking and drinking. And well, she came in and talked to me. She was a lovely person, met her son. It was
Awesome.
great. But random South
No,
Texas.
that she's kind of like legend,
Yeah.
especially in sci-fi world. She's
Oh yeah.
legend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. She
I
was
don't
super
know. I
nice.
mean, she was in Beauty and the Beast,
Dude, I
but
watched that
she's
all the time with Ron
legend.
Perlman.
All right. Yeah.
Ron Perlman, man. Yeah, you said moonlighting earlier. That has nothing to do with her, but that just reminded me of that TV show,
Wow.
Moonlighting.
Well, may I and what maybe other listeners ask the burning question, what in the holy hell was she doing down there?
Her daughter lives on the island.
Really?
So yeah, so her and her son came down there, and she's got a twin. So like, I
Whoa.
I thought at one point, what if that's not her? And I'm talking to the twin, and the twin's just used to it. But then I saw her son, and her son was just he was a super nice dude. He was just talked about how he travels around with his mom all the time. Like wherever she goes, he's going. That's what he does. And cool. Drinks,
Maybe,
smokes cigarettes, have a great time.
yeah, just don't talk about the Terminator check,
Right.
because that's probably what's paying for travel.
Oh, I mean, she was married to oh, what's that great direct? I mean, they're all great. There's all great directors, but this guy was like he directed a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, she was
I just like saying Terminator check.
Terminator check, dude.
Mhm.
Terminator 2 is what Terminator 1 was great. Terminator 2 is even better in my opinion, but maybe that's because I'm a 90s kid. But like, or I'm born in the 80s, yeah, so 90s kid. And I don't know, like Terminator's cool. Just being able to hear that voice be like, will you watch my
Yeah.
Paris one?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a stupid story about my valley stuff, but I'm glad you
I
guys
like
went
it.
down there.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of videos. I think my friend Metal Mama was down there. Probably she was probably down there watching you guys, I'm sure. Um, on to LA Guns. How good of friends are you with those guys?
Um, we're not close, but there's a lot of respect. The old, dare I call it, the original band. Uh, we we kind of cut our teeth as a touring band with L.A. Guns,
Okay.
starting in October of '89. Um, fall of '89, or the first record came out in uh, that summer in May 9th, and we had done a bunch of clubs and some one-offs with like Warrant and Kicks and Extreme
Oh,
and
nice. Extreme. We
a
toured.
bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, King's X toured with Extreme,
I
right?
believe that.
Nuno's in that band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Yep. Then yep, totally did that.
And then we got the LA Guns tour, which started ironically at the Austin Opera House,
Okay.
where Watchtower was opening for
Right.
Striper. So
See, things are connecting here.
yeah, and funny that the back room, which is just east of there,
I used to
Looks.
live. I lived
Dir-
in the apartments above the back room.
Who didn't?
I know.
But I'm glad you survived.
I did.
Dirty
My
Looks was.
Camaro didn't, but that's a different story.
Uh-oh. Dirty Looks was playing the back room the same night that tour started with LA Guns and the Toys, October 11th of '89. So after our set, we ran over and watched Dirty Looks because me and the Toys guys
Yeah.
were huge fans. Um, and now I'm fronting Dirty Looks, ironically. So, um, yeah, they treated us good. There were some shows which you know, you could call it a Spinal Tap thing. You could call it
Sure.
like there's just not enough room on this stage to stack three bands.
Yeah. Right.
So you know where I'm going with this. There was times where I'm like where the hi-hat should be, that's where I'm standing, you know. And that's okay. That's all right. Yeah, I've got a cymbal stand right here under my arm.
Yep.
Cymbal stand right here. So, I could have just held the cymbal and sang, right? Um, but we weren't mad. We were happy. There were a lot of, it was the Cocked and Loaded tour.
Okay.
That's the record they were touring. and it's a great record, and they treated us good, and we've done 100 shows with LA Guns since then, and the version that they have, and it's it's always good because they're always cordial, and we have that past,
Sure.
but we don't have barbecues together or anything. But
Right.
they're Tracy. I love Tracy's guitar playing. Phil always has time for us, and Phil's great, and I think his singing has gotten better over the years.
Oh, nice.
Those guys are cool. I have nothing but great memories of that tour. I mean, you think about the fall of '89. What the hell was going on? You were barely alive, right?
I was in kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 89. I was in
Rock and
kindergarten.
roll kindergarten.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah. I remember a cassette being placed in front of my face it was a Metallica album. I guess it was Injustice for All.
Good for
And
you.
I didn't know what it was, but I really liked looking at the photo. I mean,
Yeah.
what else do you do when you're 6? You're like, this is cool. What
Yeah.
happens to this tape? Probably started pulling the tape out of it.
Uh-oh. Well, on that, if you had a cassette of Justice, the lyrics were in there, so it unfolded about 10
Yep.
times.
Oh yeah.
So it was the accordion cassette cover.
Yep.
Um,
That's when the CDs had just come out too,
that's
or not
correct.
just, but like the CDs came in
Tiny,
the big box thing,
long box.
the
Yeah.
long box, man. I had gotten some of those somehow, and I wish I still had that box.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here. I love the long boxes.
Me too. No fucking
There
way.
is the Master of Puppets long box.
No way. That is awesome.
For all you kids, it's a little destroyed, but
It's okay. You still got it.
It's the front of the box.
Hey, that's all that matters, right? Well, I mean,
Well, I
that
was
is
gonna
so
frame
cool.
it. I just haven't gotten around to framing it. Yeah, this thing is like
Look how big that thing is.
decrepit and old. Oh yeah, it's like a 15-inch thing that you used to buy. I think that they were still yet afraid of losing all the artwork that you get on an LP.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, man, I remember seeing those. I remember I was really into Michael Jackson when I was young, like way young. So like I remember seeing the Thriller album and in that CD form, and I was like, this is going to be so fucking cool. I can't wait to get my hands on this. And it was like, well, the CD's $10. I was like, well, where the fuck am I going to get $10 from?
Mm. Well,
And
you
so
figure it out.
you do. That's right.
Yeah,
Go
when
mow a yard or
you're
something.
rock and roll people figure it out because they gotta have it.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
100%. I did
yeah.
that all the
Anyway, so
time.
so the LA Guns thing was cool and a great experience, and Tora Tora was on that tour as well.
Okay.
Hmm.
Tora.
Yeah,
What about Faster Pussycat?
went to it when the LA Guns thing was over. Actually, before the LA Guns thing in September, we did a run with Junkyard. The
Oh, I
toys
saw
were
that.
out, were out with Junkyard,
Right.
and we did the South. We did Florida. We did the Carolinas. We did all that. Did Atlanta, and then we went west, and it ended in Tempe, Arizona. With our tour jumped on a show where Faster Pussycat was headlining, and that was awesome. And it was kind of sad. It was one of those things where we loved each other's bands so much we didn't want the tour to end, and there were
Right.
grown men crying.
I
So
believe
that
it.
happens in rock and roll. There's crying in rock and roll. People don't
There
realize
is.
that.
That's true. 100%. Wait,
Yeah,
dude,
because
you
you
become
know what it
brothers.
is? It's love. You become
Yeah.
brothers.
Yeah. 100%.
You're not brothers unless you can cry in front of each other.
That's right. We to Kings. What we? I was a whatever Doug's bass tech, but everyone's part of the family.
Yeah.
But like we were on tour with Skid Row when they had Johnny as the singer. Way after Sebastian, and God rest Johnny's soul. He was a great guy. That dude saved my life. I was trying to get on the King's X tour bus. They had locked it because there was so many homeless. I can't remember what city we were in, but we had finally finished packing the trailer. Everything's in there. We're done. I go back in to do the dummy check, make sure we didn't leave anything. I'm coming back out. My key's not around my neck. I
Oh no.
left it in my bunk. So I knock on the door, and what's happening on the bus after a show. Everyone's having a good time.
They're not watching the door. They're not
watching the
waiting
door.
on you. They think you're in the bunk. They think you're at dinner. They think you're done. They think they're yeah.
That's right. So everyone's back there having a good time. Everybody's on the bus. A man who was, I don't know, homeless is the thing I would say, but also deranged, approached me and started telling me that he wrote a song for me and that if I would like to listen to it. And I was like, okay, because I'm way too nice about stuff. And he started singing me the song, and the song went really south. And it was like about this evil plan to murder me. And Johnny and Scotty, the guitar player, are in the front of their bus smoking a joint, and they're just sitting there watching this happen.
Oh no.
And then I didn't know that because our King's X's bus and Skid Row's bus are right here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they notice that things are getting weird, and they open up the driver's side window. They're like, Ryan, get in here now. And pulled me on. And the dude was like looking at me all crazy. He was like, I don't know if he would have done anything, but Johnny and Scotty saved my life.
Wow.
Pulled me on the bus, and I got to hang out with them and whatever. And they were that was a super great tour with Skid Row. I think we did 2 of them with them.
I imagine that's a good pairing.
Yeah, it was good. And there was a band called Mardo that opened up for him, and they were awesome. Those guys, the Mardo brothers, ended up being they write scores and stuff now for movies and stuff. But yeah,
awesome.
Tour stories are fun.
Well, it's becomes part of your it's like a tattoo.
Yeah.
A tattoo should tell stories, and if it don't, then it's not good for you.
That's true. I got this one in Austin. When I was 19 years old. You can't see what it is, but there's a guitar on it and a whole bunch of other crap. It never got finished because I'm a pussy, and that hurts.
That does hurt right there.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in music. One of the things that I love about music is you get to meet all these different people that believe all these different things. You become brothers with people in ways you never thought you could, sisters and brothers with other people, just depending. Like we were on tour with Nashville Pussy at one point and Skid Row. Those people are fucking fantastic. We had a great time.
They're so nice.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do anything other than make you smile.
Yep. That's true, dude. They're fantastic. I love them. And
you can't call your band Nashville Pussy and be anything but hilarious.
Oh, so. Dude, and then rock like it's going out of style, dude.
Oh, they're a tank.
Yes.
They don't stop.
They don't. Every time I look, they're on tour somewhere doing something crazy.
Keeping it alive. Yep.
Going through bass players like it's going through drummers.
Yeah. We had
Spinal Tap.
We had them on the Talk Louder.
Oh, did you really? Okay, I can't wait to go watch that one.
Yeah.
I love them. They were so nice. Great. I got photos of all of us, all of them, and all the guys in King's X, and you could tell everyone's had way too much wine. It was just fantastic night. They're great people. Cool. So, moving in to the phase of the show that I call the Beyond. I don't know where you're at. You ever seen aliens? Bigfoot or anything crazy?
I have one story.
All right.
This was probably late 90s.
All right.
About 5:00, bright, sunny day. Driving my car, just coming back from the grocery store or something. Going home. Blue sky. Something catches my eye through the windshield. I'm like, it's just like a white dot, silver dot, a white dot. Let's call it a white dot.
Okay.
It's 5:00, 4:30. It's hot as shit. Texas sky, blue sky, beautiful day. why isn't this white dot, moving like a plane? Why is it? It's just, I noticed it. I don't know why, how I noticed it. I mean, I saw it, and then I'm like, sometimes if I see a plane, I'll check it
I,
out. Wow.
absolutely, I do that all the time.
Sure. It's normal, right? It's kind of a thing. Wow, look, a bird, a plane. Right. So
When
anyway,
I lived in Austin, I would go to the airport and just you could sit there over on that bridge over there off of what was that 71? I don't remember, but you could sit there and watch the
yeah,
planes take by.
yeah,
Back
yeah.
20 years ago.
So I pulled over and I stared at it. And I stared at it. It wasn't moving, dude.
Wow.
It wasn't moving. I didn't stay there 10 minutes staring at this dot in the sky, but
I
5 minutes maybe?
Yeah, right.
5 minutes? Something? 4 minutes? More than three, okay?
Okay, understood.
Okay, why isn't it moving? And I have to blink.
Yeah.
I'm looking, I'm looking. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? It just went, it's there? It's not there anymore.
Really. Just
Yeah, it didn't like go, oh, I think I'll take off now. Oh no, I'm gonna go back to where I was, which would have freaked me out even more.
yeah.
So I didn't freak out like just the fact that it was there and then it just disappeared. I said, I think I just saw a UFO.
Yeah. You couldn't
So I
explain
went home. Of course, I never turned off the car or anything. I just pulled over, right? Foot on the brake kind of thing. Like, how long am I going to sit here and stare at the sky until someone goes, "Hey, are you okay?" you know, what are
Yeah.
you doing parked in front of my house? So I went home and I may have called somebody. I think I just saw it anyway. And that was about, I didn't really, when in these types of forum, I can bring it up, but
Sure.
I don't get asked this question very
Right.
often kind of thing.
Right.
So, another strange thing that happened to me, this would have been a few years after that. This was not extraterrestrial. I can't figure this one out.
Okay.
Come out for an encore. Forgot where it was. Midwest, probably. And I walk up to the mic. My mic, that no one replaced my mic. I had a tech, everything, right?
Yeah.
It's my mic. I own the mic.
Yeah.
And I go out there and we're about to get into it, the last song. And I don't know how else to say it. My microphone, the mesh, this part right here,
Yep.
it's bleeding.
Whoa.
There's blood on it. So I'm like,
Whoa.
checking my tongue and my teeth, and I walk up to Scott or whoever. I'm like, am I bleeding in my mouth? And they're like, fuck no. What are you talking about? I don't feel any pain. There's nothing. I'm like checking. And I
Wow.
could never. I asked Tommy, my guy, and I'm like, "What the
Did
fuck's
you
going on? Did you change
yeah,
this mic? Did you
were you
spit on this?
bleeding on my
Did you?
microphone?
What the hell is going on? Did you see anybody?" He's like, "No one has touched this thing in the 45 seconds or more that you walked off. No one touched it, and I
Wow.
can't figure out why or how." It was basically it was full of blood.
I'd be interested to know where that actually happened, only because like I don't necessarily know how I believe in any of this crap or if I do. But like I love the stories and I love to
Yeah.
entertain the facts and try to figure things out or debunk them or whatever. But like, what if you were in some haunted venue? What if that place is a place they killed a whole bunch of prostitutes 250 years before?
Who knows? I didn't have the blood quote tested.
Right.
I don't know what it was. It
Could have
wasn't
just been
ketchup
something red. It was
'cause I
something
had
red. Yeah.
because I put my mouth on it and it didn't. I don't remember it tasting like. I mean, I can imagine that I've tasted my own blood, 50 times in my old man life.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, I think it was blood.
Okay.
But no one was hurt. No one was no one complained, and everybody I brought into the conversation was looking at me like, "Are you high? What's going on?"
No, this fucking place is haunted. The
I don't
walls
know.
are bleeding.
I never thought that, but it freaked me out for, at least a week.
It was
Then I
raining
just
blood.
I let it go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I probably would have let that go too, and it would have freaked me out for a week too. There's certain things when these weird paranormal things happen. I have a few that are weird for me, but like when they happen, they freak you out. Like
Yeah.
I don't know about you and the dot in the sky. Like, did you go home, or if you remember, did you go home and you're like, the fuck was that for like a couple of days, and then it
Yeah,
just vanishes?
it was there. That kind of questioning to my head was obvious. I was like, I mean there could be an explanation.
Sure, 100%. I was on my
It
way
could have
to
been that could have been man-made.
absolutely
Whatever that was could have been man-made.
sure, and that's so my UFO. I have two, but I'm going to tell you one briefly. And I was driving to San Angelo, Texas. This is weird. Why do I keep going back to San Angelo? This was 2012, and I was driving there in the dark because I wanted to spend time with my girlfriend, now wife, and but I needed to be there Monday morning, so it's Sunday. Finished watching the Texans play or whatever, and I'm heading west, and I get about 30 miles outside of Brady, Texas. I look over to the right, and there's nothing out there. It's all desert. You've been in West
Yeah.
Texas. There ain't
Yeah.
nothing out there. I look out to my right, and I see three lights that look like they're moving independently from each other.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, what's that? I know there's Air Force bases out there. And this is drones aren't exactly on the rate. I mean, like we've had them. They were probably using them at the Air Force bases or whatever, but it wasn't
Sure.
like on the cover of the Times magazine or whatever, like it would become shortly after 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking out there, and I think I got like my first smartphone, maybe. So not quite this big, because they weren't that big when they first came out. But it's got a camera on there and a cool video. I'm like, dude, these lights are cool. I'm gonna pull over and take a photo of this. So I pull over and I go, get into the camera thing, turn it on, and the lights start coming directly towards me. Like they stopped doing what they were
Wow.
doing and started coming right at me. And I'm like, okay, I've seen enough sci-fi movies to know that this is not good. So I got back in my car and started driving. But when I did that, the lights stopped coming towards me and they went off over here. I go, all right, cool. I'm losing my fucking mind. I'm going to call my girlfriend. Called my girlfriend, told her about it. She starts laughing at me. She's like, oh, the aliens are going to get you. I'm like, look, I don't know what it is, but I'm saying like it was weird. So then I see the lights doing their little dancey thing. So I get out. I try to do it again. Same thing. Lights start coming towards me. Get in the car. Now I'm scared. I'm like, okay, they absolutely know I'm here. And this is fucking weird, dude. I don't have any way to explain this. But like I start driving and the lights came real close and they got out in front of me
Oh,
in
really?
front of the car. And as they got in front of the car, well, first of all, as they decided to come closer to me, they took the triangle for them. And then I thought I could see a full craft, but I was like, wait, how are they all independent from each other? And now they're a triangle. Then they came around. Then a big red light came on. I don't know what the fuck that was. Then it went away and followed me through Brady, Texas, but out here in this field the whole way. Then I got pulled over by a cop because I was going over the speed limit because I was scared out of my mind.
Yeah, your heart was raced.
And then I thought, okay, I've seen enough of these movies. Is the cop in on this? Like he knows, but he wasn't. He just gave me a speeding ticket because I was being a douche. But I don't know what the hell that was. Was that like guys from like some 20-year-olds from the Air Force Base flying these drones? Like, let's get this guy. That's going to be fucking funny. Because they've got all this cool technology, or was it, aliens?
Yeah, I mean, only if they were in a lab, or had headsets on with screens and they were doing it remotely like that, and they could see everything with
yeah, and that was
cameras.
that's the stuff that came later. And if you watch these drone footages now that they have from going to Iraq or wherever,
Oh yeah,
it's all in the dark, and you can see the guys on the ground and hear the guys on the ground.
yeah,
And they blow them up, like
right.
But I don't
Well,
know.
that's
It's It's crazy.
That sounds a little. That's like 100 times. That's a ramped up version of my white dot in the sky story.
Well, it was
And
weird. I was near Air Force bases.
well, it's very interesting because I think that your reaction was like mine was. Am I really seeing? Wait a minute. Let me get out. Oh shit. Well,
And then they
what?
started coming this way.
Yeah. What did you? I mean, what did I see?
Yeah.
And there's no one else there to go. Am I high? Are you seeing this?
Yeah. I drove straight to San Angelo and I went to the Dead Horse bar and I drank some fucking beers and I talked to a person about it and they looked at me like I was nuts. I was like, cool, I'm not going to talk to this about any, with any other
Yeah.
random strangers until
Yep.
apparently
Yep.
now. But
Yep. Wow. Interesting.
yeah. You guys ever played the Dead Horse or you ever been in a band that played the Dead Horse out there in San
Yeah. Yeah.
Angelo?
Broken Teeth used to play there all the time.
Yeah.
I think Kill 'Em All played there a few times.
Cool. It's
Because
a nice little bar.
everyone in Kill 'Em All besides me is from San Angelo.
Really?
Hmm.
I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. San Angelo is a really interesting town. Like, there's some
Yeah.
history there.
I've played a couple of other places there too with other bands. Can't think of the names right now, but I kind of like it there actually.
That's as far. Okay, I say this all the time, but it's as far west in Texas that I like to go. When you start going
Okay.
towards Odessa and
Yeah.
Midland, I don't like it over there. Sorry, guys, but the oil field is booming too much out there, and people are driving crazy, and I have to go out there for work,
Hmm.
and it's just not as pleasant to drive in. It's because nobody wants to be there, and everybody's mad they have to be.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Yeah, that
sketchy.
sounds dangerous.
Yeah. Everyone's pissed off at 6 a.m. trying to get to their oil rig out in the dirt somewhere, 3 hours away. It's not fun.
It's the Wild West.
It feels, yeah, with a lot of oil all over the place. It smells like money out there, though.
Hmm.
Jason, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. This made
My
my
pleasure.
day, dude. And I'm so glad I was able to make it. I didn't think it was going to work.
I just can't believe you were in the car 7 hours and then have the energy to hang out and talk shit for a minute. So,
Well, I'm just
uh,
glad if we get to talk about music and hang out and have a good time, that's 100% it recharges my battery.
yeah,
Like, this is fun. I'd love to do it again if you'd be willing to come on another time,
of
some
course.
time in the future.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Let me know. There's a lot of things to plug. So, it's
Yeah.
always I put out a lot of material, so
What are you working on? So we'll do these final questions now.
Hmm.
Musically, are you working on anything currently?
Well, there's there's always the question when the goddamn is Dangerous Toys going to put out new stuff. We
Right.
have a couple new songs that we play in the set currently.
Oh, cool.
But you cannot download them or buy those songs yet. So yeah, we have a handful of tracks that are being worked on.
Nice.
So obviously we've been writing. We didn't write for a long time, and we only play like I don't know between 5 and 10 times a year anyway.
Sure.
Uh, but people still come out. People, love it, and we've made a lot of friends in um, our tenure.
Yeah.
Being
Right.
around for so long and being
Sure.
pretty much all original, which
Yeah.
a lot of bands from the class of '89 can't say that anymore,
Right.
and that feels good.
Good.
And but I'm fronting Dirty Looks now. In May, we put out a live record that was recorded last year in Sealands Grove, Pennsylvania.
Okay. I
Stomping
heard you
grounds
say
of
that earlier in the podcast,
yeah.
but I don't know why I thought you were joking. I thought you
Oh
were
no.
joking about that.
Oh no.
Wow. Okay.
I
Well,
am a
good.
huge Dirty Looks fan, and Paul Lydell, who's been playing in Dangerous Toys since '94.
Yeah.
Well, we stole him from Dirty Looks.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, there it is.
So there's the connection. No, Henrik, excuse me, Henrik Ostergaard's main songwriter, singer, front person. It's his band.
Okay.
From Dirty Looks, he passed away sadly about 11 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept it going as best he could until the very end. And we, um, well, in a nutshell, the original lineup from the Cool from the Wire and the Turn of the Screw records, that era of Dirty Looks.
Right.
Gene, the drummer, lives in Baltimore. The bass player Jack lives in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania, which is
Okay.
like between Philly and
Mm-hmm.
Rochester, New York, and it's like
The central play. It's right
yeah,
there.
like
Yeah.
you can stay at home and
And catch a train
be
and
on
go.
tour for 3 weeks, New
Sure.
York
Yeah.
and Jersey and da da da. Anyway, I call it they call it Kicks territory.
Okay.
That's where the band Kicks is like
Right.
that. They're gods right
Yeah.
there. And Dirty
Okay.
Looks was thing, and any band from New Jersey or New York or Philly or Pittsburgh or whatever, that's a stomping ground. It's a scene, right?
Sure.
So Jack and Gene call Paul. They go, we're thinking about doing a tribute to Henrik. And this would have been about 5 years ago.
Okay.
They call Paul. Paul's been in Texas since 94, right? Uh, Paul says, yeah, that sounds great as long as Jason is the singer. Like,
Like
he
not even
didn't,
asking you,
he
like just
didn't,
saying this is
right.
what's
He didn't
happening.
throw me under the bus. He put me in the fucking driver's seat.
Yeah. Boom.
Because he knows that I'm a huge fan and that
Right.
me and Henrik were not close, but chummy and
Sure. Yeah.
glad to be in the room together, respectful of each
Right.
other's art. And they were like, really? You think you'll do it? So, I think that Paul put together, they wanted to hear me sing Dirty Looks material. And so I think Paul, I remember, I may have it somewhere on this wall behind me, probably. A demo of sorts of where he did like a verse and a chorus of like five of their hits,
Right.
popular songs. And that was fun. And I sang on this sort of like four-tracky demo thing of Dirty Looks songs that was like a medley thing.
That's cool.
And he sent it to those guys and they were like,
He's
okay,
doing it.
when do we
That's it.
start? And then so that, it took a while to get it happening. So it was like right before the pandemic, those guys came to Austin just to like try on the shoes,
Sure. Yeah.
and we rehearsed as a band. And I recorded that on like an 8-track digital recorder, and the plan was to use those rehearsal tracks as to practice so we could try to book some shows.
Sure. Yeah.
We had 2 shows booked, COVID hits. So everything got knocked off its feet for another year
Yeah.
or more, and we ended up booking the show that we ended up recording and videotaping, and it's called Cool from the Speedway, and it's out now. You can get it anywhere. It's a CD with a DVD inside of it, and it's on our own label. Like I said, you could get it anywhere. Amazon. The website is dirtylooksmusic.com. Yeah, and it came out great. 17 songs, so fun. So fun as a
Okay.
fan who gets to sing those
Yeah.
songs and sort of bring them back in front of their hometown crowd.
Fuck yeah.
Basically, like tell them how big of a fan of the band I am, and I'm one of them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm not
Right.
this guy coming in. Yeah, man, I get to be. No, no, dude. I'm one of you who just is the conduit trying to bring these songs back to you. And that's what it turned out to be. Really great, positive experience.
I can't wait to check that out.
We played 2 more shows this year
Okay.
in Philly and then in Selinsgrove again, and they were awesome. We are now on the Monsters of Rock cruise coming up next year in April.
Who's
In
all on the bill this year? There's
Saxon, Loudness, Rose Tattoo, Rhino Bucket, Junkyard, DAD, all of my favorite fucking
wow.
rock and hard rock, dirty rock and roll bands are on there. And probably Cinderella and Queensryche,
Yeah.
uh
Wow.
prob
Wow.
Tesla, and all of the common denominators are always on
Wow.
those cruises. Yeah. But Saxon, Rose Tattoo, Loudness, DAD, Junkyard, and Rhino Bucket, gimme, gimme,
Mm.
gimme.
We
And
were
Dirty Looks.
Dirty Looks. There it is. When we were it every time King's X, and I say we, I mean King's X, I was just working for him. But every time when they were in Europe and I happened to be with them teching, Saxon was always like a day away from us. And I was like, one day we're gonna intersect. And that never happened. I
Ah,
mean, it happened with Creator though. I saw Creator
oh, that's awesome.
in Tilburg, and we went and hung out with all the guys backstage, and that was fantastic. And then
Awesome.
me and the guys from King's X were all drunk leaving that place with our arms over each other, walking through Tilburg, Holland, singing, "Can't tell by the way I do my work that I'm a woman's man."
Nice.
And I'll never, it's like the best memory I'll ever had, especially Doug over on the left singing that stuff. I mean, it was so much fun. But
Perfect.
dude, podcast wise, anything new that you'd like to talk about, or you want to keep that all under the hat? Any
No, I
guests
don't.
coming
I
up?
don't care. I don't care. One more thing I'd like to plug. This
Oh,
month,
okay. Yeah.
October 21st, which is coming like next week,
Yeah, it's next week.
I have a new record coming out. I'm in a project called Cassius King,
I love it.
and this is our second record. This
Oh
record
yeah.
is called Dread the Dawn,
I love
and
it. My wife's name is Dawn.
oh, nice.
That's perfect.
Well, I'm sure you don't dread the dawn.
I don't know.
No,
Yeah, no.
she must be a good sport.
She is a good
Dread
sport.
Dread the Dawn. It's available now for pre-order.
Okay.
Nomad Eel Records at Bandcamp, and that version has a couple of cover songs on it, both written by Paul Stanley. Come On and Love Me and Wouldn't You Like to Know Me.
Really nice.
The other 10 songs are Cassius King songs, of course. We have
Sure.
video coming out day of the release. We have a European release of the same record, Dread the Dawn, coming out the same day with a different cover song, bonus track, I guess, and it's
Sure.
Troubleshooter by Judas Priest.
Nice.
Yes. And looking forward to it. Cassius King, the first record was called Field Trip. I've always loved, Sabbath disciple type bands.
Yeah.
Like I love Trouble
Yes.
and I love Down and I
love
love,
Down,
the new Corrosion and some of the Black Label Society and the Sabbath disciple. You know where I'm going, but I
Mhm.
love, Witchfinder General and Orchid, which is
Yep.
just they just lifted everything Sabbath and then like wrote their own songs to sound like Sabbath, and
Yep.
I just love that thing, especially if it's fucking good.
Yeah. Did you ever hear oh my god, Super Shine?
I don't think I've heard of that.
It's Doug Pennick from King's X and
Yeah.
the guitar player, I can't think of his name, from Trouble.
Oh,
It's
really?
they only ever made one record, and it's called the band name is Super Shine. I don't know if it's
Wow.
self-titled or what, but there's
Was
one.
it Bruce
Yep.
Franklin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bruce. So look, like if you got
I'll
nothing to
check it
do
out.
after this, go look for that because
I'll check it
it's
out.
fantastic.
Awesome.
And it's old now. It's like 20
Yeah,
years
yeah.
old now, but like it was cool. They keep saying they're going to do another. It's like Razor 13. There's only one of them.
Yeah.
Only one record.
Well, Cassius King is sort of from that school. It's a little bit
Okay.
doomy. I wouldn't call it stoner, but all the stoner websites, are reviewing it as it's a sort of Sabbathy stoner doomy thing, which it
Sure.
kind of is. With fun, 80s metal cover songs on it,
Yeah.
late 70s, whatever, right? And Yeah, it's great. The album covers were both done by my friend Claudio Bergaman, who painted the cover for Judas Priest Firepower.
Oh wow,
So yeah,
wow.
it's special. It's a cool project. It's if Ozzy and Dio were to have a friendly game of cards and also just sing on some Sabbath demos that
Yeah,
were maybe a little bit more rock oriented, that's what Cassius King is.
dude, that's
I'm
fantastic.
channeling some Dio and some Ozzy kind of mixed even in one song, you know.
Oh, I love it.
That style. I'm using my chest voice a lot. My signature upper register is all there, but there's a lot of down here
I'm gonna
happening.
check this. I can't
So,
wait to do this. My wife wants to hang out with me. I'll be like, "Oh, just another hour, so I can't. Like,
let her, you know, yeah, give her some time too. That's important, but yeah, just check it out when you have a minute.
yeah, but I'm gonna be dreading the dawn. So I mean, I need to like,
Oh, I saw what you did there.
I
But yeah,
really, really,
that's about it. Trying to write new Dirty Look songs, which is interesting because we're trying to be true to the sound of Dirty Looks, and it's kind
right,
of like, you know, without it turning into the Broken Teeth thing, because
sure,
me and Paul started Broken Teeth together,
right.
so it's kind of like, but it's all the same. Isn't everything everything?
We're as musicians, we love incest apparently, and I don't mean that literally. I just mean that as like we're all together. We're all our
Right.
bands are intermingling, and we're
I think
always
I think that the love for the music and the creation and uh, the obliteration and embracement of style
yeah,
sometimes at the same time is the same thing. Everything is everything. As much as you are trying, well, I'm trying to do something different than your last record, great. So your new record sounds like this
right,
instead of that. So
right,
whatever this is just wasn't that.
right.
But this is probably close to what somebody else already has this, but now you're doing it too. You see what I'm saying?
I think
I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm
no,
saying
right.
create whatever comes out, whatever
That's
mood you're
right.
in, let that shine.
I think that I don't. I feel like I could be misquoting who this quote is from, but I could be messing this all up entirely. But I really think Rob Zombie said Black Sabbath already wrote all the riffs. Everybody else is just doing something off of that. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I think Glenn Danzig said something like everything is Motorhead.
Yeah.
Everything is Motorhead. And it's kind of right. Motorhead is blues on speed.
Yeah.
What is blues? Blues is heavy metal. Blues is rock and roll. Blues is gospel.
It
Blues is
is.
country.
Yep.
Blues is storytelling. Blues is music.
Yeah, it is. You seen that
So
Elvis Presley movie?
yeah, it's great.
It is great.
Yeah, it's great.
I didn't think I was kind of worried about it, but they did really good job.
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, sure, you know, uh, he made some bad movies,
Sure.
maybe, but for the most part, Tom makes some good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. This is true. Jason, I don't want to keep you any longer on your Friday. I enjoy y'all's podcast. You guys are a great duo. The guests I've heard so far have been fantastic. I can't wait to go dive back into the older ones where I hear you guys nerding out because that's something maybe you and I can do on the next one here because we talked a little bit about gear, but we only really talked about microphones. And like you had said before, it's like on the podcast, nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about when you're like, well, dude, I use the EMG 81 and 85 inside my Schecter guitar over here. Like, unless you're really fucking into it. And that's what my
Yeah.
podcast is all about. It's the niche, tour stories, fun, the beyond. And
Right.
I appreciate you coming on. It's been a blast.
Nerd Fest.
Nerd fest.
Yeah.
Brother, go
Oh,
have a great rest of your day or
thank you for
evening.
having me. Bless you. Have a wonderful night, and I appreciate you.
Dude, I appreciate you too, man. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Later.
See you later.